Ask any Kenyan about Matatus, and you'll get two completely different answers. One person will tell you Matatus are chaotic, dangerous, out of control. Another will tell you they are creative, iconic, uniquely Kenyan. And the interesting thing is that both of them are probably right. Because this is not just a transport debate, it has become a cultural argument. And Kenyans are choosing sides. Let's start with the defenders, because they have a case worth hearing. When critics attack Matatu culture, supporters will tell you something important. Don't confuse a few bad apples with the entire industry. Every single day, thousands of Matatus complete millions of trips. Most of those trips end without incident. Most drivers get passengers home. Most conductors do their jobs. Most circles are running legitimate businesses. And beyond transport, the culture created something remarkable. Jobs for artists, fabricators, designers, a platform for local creativity that the government never funded. For them, criticizing Matatu culture feels like criticizing Nairobi itself. Then there is this other side, and they are not talking about artwork. They are talking about a young student who lost his life after being thrown from a moving Matatu. They are talking about stunts that keep overturning vehicles, killing passengers and crews alike. They are asking a very simple question. How many more people have to die before something changes? For these Kenyans, this is not a conversation about culture. It's a conversation about public safety. And here is where the debate gets interesting, because most Kenyans are not actually against Matatus. What they are against is a specific pattern that has developed inside the industry. A pattern where operators stop treating passengers as customers and started treating them as an obstacle. Think about what it means that people are dying over 20 shillings, not over a major crime, not over a serious dispute. 20 shillings, and the disagreement ends with someone being thrown from a moving vehicle. That is not a transport problem. That is a values problem. Somewhere along the way, most operators normalize a culture where passengers' dignity is optional, where violence is a tool, where impunity is expected. And perhaps the most disturbing part is not that it happens. It is that many Kenyans now expect it and are forced to accept it. That normalization is what is splitting the country. So why does it keep happening? Part of the answer is something nobody wants to say directly. Many Kenyans tolerate behaviors from Matatus that will not be acceptable anywhere else. Imagine an airline employee assaulting a passenger over fare, a bank teller threatening a customer. The consequences will be immediate and serious, but in public transport, mistreatment is the norm. And the reason is not complicated. Passengers simply do not have another option. We either board that Matatu or we do not travel. When people have no alternatives, they have no power.
Hatuwezi kuwa bila power.
And when consumers have no power, operators have less reason to treat them with respect. That is not just a cultural problem, it is a structural problem. Every time a tragedy happens, people demand arrests. And yes, criminal behavior should face consequences. But arrests alone will not fix this, because you cannot arrest a culture. What needs to change is the system that allows impunity to survive. Professional licensing for conductors, with real consequences for violence and mistreatment. Real penalties for circles whose crew harm passengers. Not investigations that go quiet after 2 weeks. Real consequences. And perhaps, most importantly, giving Kenyans more transport choices. Because competition changes behavior faster than regulation ever will. When passengers can choose where they ride, operators begin competing on how they treat passengers. Right now, too many Kenyans cannot make that choice. So why is the Matatu culture spreading Kenyans? Because Kenyans are being asked to hold two things at the same time. pride in something creative and uniquely their own, and grief over something that keeps killing and hurting people they know. Those two things are both real, and the split will continue until the government and Kenyans themselves decide what kind of transport culture they want. One that celebrates creativity and protect the people riding inside it. Because right now, too many Kenyans are not choosing to ride Matatus. They are simply left with no other choice.